just had to catch a little sample of that. I thought maybe yesterday it was just because it was nighttime that the cicadas were this loud, but now it's the morning and they're still this loud by the airport. It's fucking insane. It's weird that I'm looking at these trees and like clearly they're full of cicadas to make that level of noise, but I can't see them. I don't see any of them. Crazy. Yeah, and then as I walk away, it gets lower, but it takes a while. Like that, it was so loud. I thought at first, just to my dumb, sleepy brain yesterday, I was like, is that some kind of like man-made noise that's supposed to drive away insects? But then I realized if that is what it is, it's not fucking working. No, that's just cicadas, man. That's what they do. All right, it's a little tough to talk to yourself in an airport. A little tough to find a spot to yourself, but I think I'm more or less by myself here in this corner. Man, I guess the first thing I just want to talk a bit about is, man, anxiety is such a kick in the dick. Like once you're under the water, it's like, oh well, now I'm under. Now I can't get back out, you know? Like overall, this trip has all gone pretty well. No serious problems. I mean, I remember I was like a bit in the dumps a little around Christmas. And now it's the middle of summer, so maybe every 6 months, just, you know, something gets a little shaky. But even the Christmas thing was just kind of a general malaise, similar to when I first got to Seoul. This is definitely different. What this reminded me of was going to Amsterdam the first time in like 2017, I think that was. And doing okay when my friends were there, but then when they left, it was this anxiety just pressing down on my chest that reminded me a lot of being in school. One big reason I did not pursue further education. I hated that feeling so much. And yeah, I would go to bed stressed out and I would wake up stressed out for just days and days. And I was like, all right, I got to get out of here. I don't know what's going on, but it's not getting better. But that level of anxiety is pretty uncommon, but I definitely had it yesterday. But like 2 days ago, even after I got the email about the canceled flight and got the new one set up, I really wasn't feeling that bad. And then yesterday morning in the shower, I remember it was like a mixture. It reminds me of if you've ever swam in a lake where it's like cold water in the lake, but if it's a sunny day, there'll be like parts of the water that are just like warm parts, and you kind of go from warm to cold to warm to cold, and it's just a weird feeling. It's not hot, cold, or warm. It's just like cold and hot back and forth. Not hot, you know, temperate. That's how I was feeling in the shower, getting ready to get going. As I was like, yeah, I'm a little nervous, a little apprehensive, weird new flight, staying overnight at airports, but then I'd kind of like chuckle like, yeah, but it's exciting, it's going to be cool. And then once that first flight failed, and then the second flight failed, and then I had to book this other flight, and then I realized I was going to be a day past my exit. That's when it's like, uh-oh. Now I'm just feeling like I just want to go sit somewhere and just try to just... And that's the other problem too, is I got a little sobby yesterday, but it's hard to like properly cry. But it's like, I would like to though. I'd like to get this feeling out of me. I'm going to try, but it's not really going to happen. But I just feel like I want to cry all day. And then this morning, I woke up again feeling that way. And it was like, uh-oh, this is just like in Amsterdam. Like sleeping didn't help. I was still anxious. And it just persisted throughout the morning till finally I got like a little mad. I'm like, all right, body, I know you're filling me with stress hormones here. You want me to be wary, but it's just not helping anymore. Why are you still doing this? And then I realized like, oh wait, maybe I can just do some exercise, do some squats, do some fucking planks. It's a real simple exercise, but just standing up and just raising your arms above your head and then bending backwards. And it's shocking how much weight just your arms can give. If you hold your arms above you and just bend backwards and just hold the weight of your own body with your core. It's incredible how fast that gets hard to do. But anyway, I just did some basic exercise stuff, and at least that balanced things out a little. That put some exercise hormones in my body to at least battle back against these other ones. But then I got to the airport and I sorted out stuff with immigration, and I'll get into all the details. But once that was all sorted, now I feel basically okay again. I just feel like, yeah, right, it's a shame that I got to go sleep overnight at the airport in Shanghai. Like, this is going to suck. But it's going to suck in just the normal way of this is what I'm trained for. This is what I do all the time. And this is specifically what I did in Calgary, but just in general, just kind of dicking around traveling shit. Like, none of this should be that big a deal. I should be more or less used to this. And it's just so weird that yesterday it was just like too much. Just like pushed the head under the water. Now you're drowning. What's going on? Thank you for your understanding. The boarding time for some flight has been delayed. I don't know if that one was mine, but certainly don't fucking care. I got an 18-hour layover. I'm all right. I can be late. But I was thinking about it, and I think it must be the not knowing what's going to happen next. I think that must be my Achilles heel, because in Amsterdam, I really didn't plan it out well. That was a point in 2017 when Airbnbs were very convenient in Canada. They were very easy to get. They were very cheap. They just seemed to be always available. So I was carrying that idea to Europe, and it seems like Europe never had the Airbnb culture that North America had, but also it wasn't the same. It was like it's more like how things are now. You really got to book ahead of time. It's not going to be that cheap no matter what you do. It's not particularly super flexible. But I wasn't sure what I was going to do in Europe. Like, oh, maybe I'll go here, maybe I'll go there, maybe I'll go to England, maybe I'll go to France, maybe I'll stay in the Netherlands. That was a bad idea, because then I just ended up doing none of them. I was just freaked the fuck out and I went home. I think I need to know what's coming. I need to have a plan. Like with Japan, I set up the whole 90 days before I got there. I loosened it up a little bit in South Korea, but I still had like 5 weeks in Seoul, and then we can figure it out from there. The reason I have to go to Taipei is because I've already got a month set up there, of non-refundable places to stay. It definitely just works way better financially, and it just works way better for me. Just knowing what's coming down the pike is what makes all of this solo traveling possible, is what makes it not freak me the fuck out. Because once that broke down, like that's what I didn't have in the Netherlands, and I was just nervous every day. And that's what I didn't have yesterday too. It's like, my first flight got canceled, and I was tired, and just having to figure this all out on the fly and under the gun of like the flight's gonna leave in fucking 40 minutes, and I got some guy through Expedia saying like it'll take us 20 minutes to book this new flight, and then that didn't work anyway. And then having to book, like I've never had to book an emergency flight for that day. It's never happened to me before. That it's like I need to leave this country today. And oh great, there's only 3 fucking options through Expedia, and they're all within 2 hours of each other. They're all essentially the same, and they're all $650. And it's like, well, okay, I guess we're doing that now. But then not knowing how any of this immigration stuff works, and not knowing what to even do about that, just not understanding the process. It was just, I think, all of that unassuredness, even going to that hotel yesterday. Like I showed up at the Busan airport hoping I could talk to immigration. I was there too late. And then it's like, now what do I do? Looking up Airbnbs, and then I was like, maybe I can just go find a hotel. But I was just walking through the night. Let's just walk, and let's just get to the first hotel I see and see what happens. And then luckily that all worked out great. I spent $90 on a hotel room, but it was worth it. It was fucking great. I'll tell you more about that too. That thing is amazing. So I think that's got to be it, is just... Because I was surprised, I guess, because, I was like, all right, so my flight got canceled and stuff, but I mean, this is what I've been doing, right? I should be more or less kind of resilient enough to be ready for this or whatever, and I just wasn't. I just felt so shitty all day yesterday. It was awful, and then I woke up this morning and I still felt it, and it's like, damn, man, this is not right. This is wrong. And I think that's got to be it. Because now once things are set up again, now that I've sorted out immigration stuff and I'm on the other side of the border thing, I'm like essentially out of Korea at this point. I'm just waiting for the flight. And then I got an 18-hour layover in Shanghai, and I mean, whatever. Like, that seems like such a small issue compared to this other stuff, because I know what's going to happen. I'll get there, and I'll wait, and then I'll get a flight to Taipei, and then I'll wait again, because I can't get into the Airbnb right away. I mean, maybe I can. I'm 2 days late. You think the person will let me in early, but I don't know. We'll see. I probably just won't give a fuck about. I don't like arguing with Airbnb people, especially when they don't speak English. It's like, fuck it, whatever. But I know what's coming. Everything now for the next month is okay. It's all set up. Unless there's another crazy weather situation. I mean, but I feel just like it's night and day. And now I just feel my normal levels of just general low-level anxiety. Gotta keep yourself on your toes. That's not the worst thing to have. But yeah, that all just went away. It's like, okay, good, that's gone. So I figure that's gotta be it. That's my theory. It's the uncertainty of what's coming, what's gonna happen next. And even like with stuff like talking to the border guard, like there was nothing I could do but wait until today to come deal with it. But to my body, like my body's like, well, all right then, I guess we'll just continue to be horrifyingly anxious until then. Have fun with that, asshole. I mean, it's good to know about myself. And I mean, I guess I have been setting things up to avoid this without distinctly knowing it was going to fuck my head up this bad. But I have just generally been, booking things ahead of time and trying not to fall into these situations. But yeah, now that I fell into one, now that I had the typhoon flight reroute situation, now I know, like, yep, this is going to be bad. This is bad for you, my friend. Your solo traveling is completely predicated on having everything set up as far into the future as possible. I mean, that was one thing I was enjoying in South Korea, is being a little more flexible, switching things up a little, getting to Jetcheon and realizing like, oh, nope, I don't want to stay extra time. 3 weeks in Jetcheon, that's plenty. Let's go to Busan. And then with Busan, like, okay, let's go to Jeju. And then with Jeju, like, all right, let's stretch out the Jeju. But still, I was always at least 3 weeks out. I mean, 3 weeks for Jetcheon, 5 weeks for Seoul, 5 weeks for Busan, 4 weeks for Jeju that turned into a little over 2 months, I guess. So at a minimum, 3 weeks out and usually 5. So still, that's what I call flexible. That's flexible compared to Japan, where I planned out both times the entire 90 days before I even got there. And if I get back to Japan, I'm not sure what the plan is. I would like to just go down the coast, is kind of my thought. Start in Yokohama and go down the coast. I don't quite know how I'm going to set that up or how that's going to work or even how many places are available or what I'm going to do. But I think this is good to know. Don't just wing it. Don't just not set things up. That is not going to work. That is Stressville. That is Anxiety Town. That sucks. It looks like my boarding actually starts pretty soon for this flight, so I'll save the rest of my yammering for when I get to the Shanghai airport. But this is one thing that's kind of cool. This has never happened to me before, is because I had to book this flight emergency-wise and just take whatever they had, so I ended up buying a better ticket than I've ever had. I was upgraded to first class one time in Canada. It was like a flight from Toronto to Vancouver, I think, and it was oversold somehow. So I don't remember if it was like a volunteer thing or how it worked, but there were businessy people that needed to get on that flight, and then there was me who didn't give a sweet fuck. Especially flying from east to west, you gain time, so it was going to still be early in the day, even if I had to wait 3 extra hours. So I did not mind being pushed back, and they gave me like a $200 voucher and a food voucher for like $20, go buy a sandwich, and upgraded me to first class. I was like, wow, I wish you'd oversell every flight. But then first class, I didn't actually like it that much. It was nice to have more seat room, but the extra attention from stewards and stewardesses I did not enjoy. It's like, leave me alone. Stop trying to give me bottles of wine and little fucking towels for my hands and shit. I much preferred being left the fuck alone. So it was weird that first class was not all it was cracked up to be. But I guess where this confused me is these are still economy flights. You know, it's still for a 3-leg flight, $650. I mean, it's a shame. It's more than double what, you know, my original flight was, but honestly not that bad for a flight that I bought, you know, 3 hours before the departure. But one of the things it comes with is, at least for the Korean Air part of this flight, the final flight from Shanghai to Taipei is a different carrier. But I've got Sky Priority, which I didn't even realize. Like when they were calling the zones, okay, you know, zone 1, zone 2, whatever. I'm always just like zone 5. I'm always the shittest of the shit, the cheapest ticket, you know, the last guy on the plane. And I don't give a fuck, who cares? But that was happening this time where they're up to like zone 3, and I'm like looking at my ticket and I'm like, man, am I such a nobody that I don't even have a zone number? Where even is it? It's not, I don't even have a zone number on my ticket. What is this shit? And then I realized I have priority. It's like, oh yeah, this is a real plane ticket. This isn't some discount thing that I bought 8 weeks ago. I bought this today. This is a normal plane ticket where you get stuff. So that was the first thing that made me feel good yesterday. That kind of made me laugh. It's like, oh fuck, I could have got on this plane several waves of people ago, but I just had no idea. Sky Priority, that I'm the priority guy. I've never had that in my life. And then today at the airport, I got the guy giving me the ticket was like, oh, by the way, there's the priority lounge. When you get out here, you know, take a left and there's the lounge. So I was sitting in the lounge all fucking afternoon. I finished editing the Akihabara episode of this very podcast, just sitting in the little fancy pants lounge. I've never had access to the lounge before. And not only that, when I was going through security, it wasn't very busy anyway, but I noticed there was like the priority line with nobody in it. So I just held up my thing and I was like, hey, is this me? Can I do this? And he's like, yes, indeed, come on over. So I got my own security line. It was just me. I'm like, wow. I mean, it's not worth doubling the price of these flights, but it's nice. It's nice at least that when I did have to pay all this extra for these things, that I get is stupid little priority bullshit. That's pretty cool. So anyway, yeah, I gotta go get ready because now I get to go on the plane first. This might never happen again, so I gotta soak it in. And I actually didn't do it last flight. This could be the last flight of my fucking life where I get priority to go on first. So I'm gonna go get ready. I'm gonna do that. But yeah, basically, like I said, I still have many wisdoms and informations to impart about flight stuff and immigration stuff and whatnot. I will get to it. Probably during my 18-hour layover in Shanghai, I will get to it. Man, the Busan mountains are fucking beautiful today. It's weird, there's like frosted glass here. I don't know why. You can't see out these windows. I have to go stand next to them, stand on a vent, tippy-toe to see over top. So only the very tall are allowed to see this view, I guess. But yeah, it's a really pretty day out. And man, those mountains look fucking cool. I don't know what the biggest mountain is near Busan, but must be big-ish, because those look fucking significant. It was neat, too, after flying from Jeju. It's incredible how fast you get from Jeju to the mainland, and then you're just flying over Korea. And it was cool just flying over Korea at night. Like, it got dark real quick. And just looking at the different cities at night and just knowing, I guess just from going to Jetchan, just knowing, yeah, this whole country's so connected. You could easily just take a train to pretty much any of these places. I don't know why exactly to go to any one specific one, but you could. I don't know. You could just go check out these different parts. And I guess it's just, I don't know. It seems interesting to me just because I've been here, you know? Now that I've been here, now I've got an interest. Now I'm like, there is more I would like to know about Korea. And even just watching the mechanisms of it at night, like that it's such a, like it's got the lowest birth rate in the world. They talk about that a lot in Japan, but it's lower here. And one of the theories is that people don't want to bring kids into this system, and just the incredible stress of the South Korean system and the high suicide rates and stuff. It is just weird to see, you know, like capitalism is such a powerful mechanism, and it's like, especially North versus South Korea, you know, in South Korea they wound up the capitalism and just wound it up and let it go. And it worked, you know, it's super prosperous. Everything is so cool looking. The whole country is just covered in modern stuff, but everybody's fucking miserable. I'm certainly not saying North Korea is a better plan. It's just that it's such a stark difference. They really went all the way in both directions. And it's just I don't know, in some ways both sides are like a weird disaster. But in very different ways. At least in South Korea, people aren't starving to death, but spiritually, there's something very wrong going on. I don't know, it's all very interesting, and I hardly understand it at all, but maybe I soaked in a bit over the last 6 months. I got some airport Wi-Fi. Tallest mountain in Busan is apparently Gyeomjeonsang, 801.5 meters, so almost exactly 800 meters. Map-wise, it is north of the city. Cool. Well, anyway, that's something for next time. Something to look into next time. Oh man, it begins. Let's see if I can talk to myself while stuff's going on here in the plane. Yeah, so again, I just bought whatever ticket was available, you know, and there were very few options, especially leaving from Jeju. And I don't know. I don't even know how I would have switched anything. Anyway, I guess this is making, again, the price. It's not like the price was the worst. But yeah, I don't just have priority. I do, in fact, have the first class BS. I guess I didn't from Jeju because I think that just doesn't exist. Those little teeny planes. But yeah, this one is so pointless for such a short flight. At least last time I had first class from Toronto to Vancouver. But yeah, I got that super leg room. There's only 8 first class seats on this whole stupid plane, and I got one of them. But yeah, I assume it's probably that again, because I bought this yesterday for a flight today, it's probably sold out except for this, I assume. I assume that I just got this because there was no other option. But anyway, I guess I get to try first class again. But yeah, like even I've got a couple of coats with me that I certainly don't need in this weather, but you know, I will in the fall. But I also have stuff in my pockets. I've got like various cords for my phones and stuff. A battery charger, you know, I've just got stuff in the pockets of my coats. But the lady asked me if she could take my coats and put them in the cloak room. First class has a cloak room, and I was like, hey, I know this is weird to turn down your hospitality, but I got stuff in my pockets that I might need, so I'll just keep it if that's cool. But yeah, the beginning of the first class shenanigans, man. The cloak room. Get out. Why is there a cloak room on a plane? Oh man, there's big super headphones, like big cans that you put on in like the 70s, you know, like great big headphones that cover your whole ear instead of just little earbuds. And there's slippers. What in the name of sweet fuck? Why would I need slippers while I stroll about the cabin? But then yeah, the lady came over and was like, oh, here's our menu. Prestige class. I guess my ticket did say prestige class. I never paid attention. I've never flown Korean Air before. I didn't know what that meant. wine, cocktails. What? Is this shit included? There's no prices. I guess it is, right? That's the first class thing? God damn, fucking first class. Like, I want to explain, like, listen, it's not what you think. I'm not Joe Fancy Pants. This is the opposite. I'm so cheap that my cheap-ass flight got canceled, and I tried desperately to rebook the cheap-ass flight. And then I accidentally fucking paid for this shit. I just feel like a dickhead. Everyone's walking by me. I'm sitting here. There's not even anyone next to me, which is cool. Maybe I'll have my own extra seat to myself. Anyway, since I gotta stay again, I gotta stay at the airport all night after this. Opposite of fancy. So I think there'll be no spirits or brandy for me. However, I might get a coffee. That sounds pretty good. I guess though, I mean, this must just be how the economics of flying work, right? Like, I'm sure that this plane was filled up ages ago, and even like my little flight, like I guess I haven't explained all the details yet, but it seems what happened with my flight is as soon as half of it got canceled, it was presumed that the whole thing was canceled and that my seat was immediately filled by someone else. Like all these economy flights, especially in this part of the world where there's little quick flights all over the place, like they just fill up fast. They're just full, like ages before. That's why I had so few options for getting out of Jeju. Essentially none. Just 3 copies of the same flight. But if you are a fancy business guy, like I guess that's the thing too, right? Is like there are... Yeah, it looks like my whole section is not full. There's a family who have the other 4 prestige seats, but of my 4, I'm the only one here. The other 3 are empty.
Welcome you.
So I guess this is like if you're a business guy and you need that flexibility, you just want to be able to leave and go wherever you want, whenever you want. That's what these insane seats are for, right? That's why... I wonder what the price breakdown is of my stuff. I wonder if I can figure that out. I just paid it as a bulk thing, but obviously this particular part of the flight is the big one, the big kahuna. But if it wasn't for this nonsense, I wouldn't have a seat at all. There'd be no flight available, so I guess I can't complain, you know? Like, the bullshit of first class is what saved me, what got me the fuck out of here. Because if these were normally priced seats, they would have been taken long ago. Like, first class just sits here till it's needed. Alright, I just had my little meal with a teeny tiny bottle of vinaigrette and a little teeny tiny ceramic pepper and salt shaker, like just enough pepper and just enough salt for my one little meal, and fresh fruit and a baguette and a salad with sashimi on top. And like spicy cod and rice, and it was ridiculously awesome. And they came out offering little bottles of red or white wine, but I had to decline because, you know, I gotta deal with an airport after this. I gotta, see, that's where I'm going from being, this is the height to the depths. I'm like the king right now. It's ridiculous. The little hand towel again. This one wasn't heated though, like the one in Canada, but the little hand towel. I did take them up on one little cup of coffee. I got the curtain pulled so I can't see the people behind us. And especially because I'm the only one on my side, the 3 seats around me are empty. I'm like a super king right now. Now looking out the window I can only see water, but I was watching a bunch of Korea go by and it's so fascinating. Just all the little islands. Some of the islands have bridges, some of them don't. The landscape of South Korea just looks like the most fun video game ever. But anyway, yeah, it's just weird because I honestly didn't know. I really didn't know that I had signed up for this. And I mean, it is pretty delightful. But it's just funny that I'm going straight from this to I gotta sleep in the airport tonight. You know, ultimately, I mean, because I stayed at a fancy place yesterday, and I got a first-class flight today. This has been very weird, because it is a jolly old rogering of spending 2 days to get to Taipei when it would have originally taken like 4 hours. But at the same time, I'm doing all this fancy shit that I would never have normally done. So at least I guess it balances out. You know, the fancy shit is pretty cool. I really don't know how much extra this cost me or whatever. I don't know quite how my ticket prices broke down. But it is kind of neat with stuff like this, or with that suite that I stayed in yesterday. Like that anyone can do this stuff. Like if you're a rich guy, you get to do this stuff every day. But it's kind of cool that everybody can just try it, you know? If you want to go to a ski chalet somewhere, or if you want to land a helicopter on an aircraft carrier, or a yacht or something, I don't know. I don't know what rich people do. But you could do it one time. And it's not even that expensive, really. It's just you can only really do it one time. But how many times do you got to do this shit? I don't know. But this, I got to admit, this has been pretty cool for an accidental thing that I stumbled into. I feel a lot better today than I felt yesterday. You know? Oh, look at that! There's some ships down there, some big shipping type ships. Whenever you order something from Amazon that's coming from China with free shipping, and then you have to wait 4 months for your $3 item to arrive. That's where it comes from. Those ships. But yeah, seeing the little teeny tiny salt and pepper shakers, that cracked me up the most. It just made me think of Fight Club, Tiny Life. But anyway, I think they're done offering me stuff now. So maybe I'll try to get a little nap. Though even that, when the lady pointed out the menu and like, prepare yourself for which menu item you want. But she also asked, like, hey, if you're napping, is it okay if I wake you up? I was like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it is just a difference between North America and being on the other side of the world, is it was just very unnatural feeling and uncomfortable to be waited on in North America. It didn't feel right. Where here, I mean, it's just part of the culture, especially in Korea. Korea is so obsessed with like who's the older one, who's the younger one. You never talk back to your elders, but if you're the younger, you also don't pay for the group meal or whatever. I'd go so far as to say obsessed with seniority and rank. I mean, I believe all this stuff probably contributes to why they're so stressed out and miserable too, is these weird, super strict social conventions that don't necessarily line up to anything that makes fucking sense. But it's just more common around here, and it just, I don't know, they're just better at it. They have I mean, I can't put my finger on, you know, the secrets or whatever. It just like, there's a way that you can be in the host position and be the person offering all the stuff and be the person catering to the first class person without it seeming, I don't know, I really can't put my finger on how to explain this. It just felt it felt ridiculous in North America. It felt like, why are we doing this? Why are you? Especially, I guess, in the North American example, because I didn't pay for that ticket. I just got upgraded, and now they're treating me like, oh, this guy, he's first class guy. The whole thing felt very unnatural, where I guess like it's been kind of like this the whole time in Asia. Not all the time. I mean, the immigration lady I dealt with today literally shooed me away when she was done. She's like, yeah, get out of here, go. But generally, you know, if you go to a convenience store or you're just dealing with airport people or whoever in your day, it's just more natural over here for that acknowledgement that there's
The Chinese pizza.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. What's the point of me trying to explain it? It's pretty obvious. It's just not even hard to explain. It's just more in the culture over here. It all just goes a lot smoother. Oh, I just got they handed me my China visa thing, even though I'm only going through there from the airport. But which countries and regions have you ever been to in the past 2 years? It's like almost right. Anyway, guess I better fill this shit out. Oh, no time for napping. We're already here. And man, we're basically flying over a desert. I've never flown over terrain like this before. Is that, oh, there's like an island. It looks like a desert, but then those are like islands. That's not, is that water? What the fuck? I thought that was sand, but that might be water. Yeah, because I'm seeing like inlets heading into the land. Why is the water just brown, man? What is happening? I 100% thought that was sand. Maybe it's shallow water and I can see dirt under it? I don't know. It's making me realize I just know literally nothing about China, but I have a feeling I'm not going to learn. This, in the same way as Russia, this is one of these you must have a visa, super unfriendly fucking countries. It's like, why the fuck would I go that far out of my way to visit if you're gonna be such dicks about it? Yeah, that is water. What the hell? I don't know, man. That's fucking weird. But yeah, even just to transfer at the airport, I got this big fucking... Make sure you don't... Well, whatever. I'll get into it later. Does this sound? Maybe this sounds bad. Maybe this sounds bad. Yeah, this feels bad. So I'm talking into my recorder, but I got this little felt bag thing that I keep it in. It's like, maybe I'll just keep it in the bag and talk through the bag so it looks less weird that I'm talking to myself in this Shanghai airport, this land of mega security. It just feels very fucking weird to record a podcast when I'm going to be here all night. If there's ever a place in the world where somebody's going to notice that I'm doing something weird, this is the fucking place. This or Russia. Maybe I'll just try talking into my phone. That doesn't seem so bad. Then it's like I'm talking into a phone. But anyway, I walked by some Chinese food, little Chinese food restaurant area, and it's the first nice association I've had so far in China. I'm like, Chinese food, that smells good. Other than that, this place fucking blows, man. It's extremely similar to Russia. For now, though, yeah. Test. Oh. Man, this place is fucking ridiculous. This is weird. I've got headphones in so I can hear myself talk, but now I'm hearing an echo, so I'm going to turn them off. But that sounded fine. I guess the question is, how weird is this now? I'm just talking into a phone. But who the fuck knows, man? This is the land of security. What the shit? I just had to go through another security thing just to get from Terminal 1 to Terminal 2. However, Terminal 2, I believe, is my home till the morning. But this is a good example of, I think, my little theory about just the security of knowing what's coming. This is fucking sucky, but I just was like, whatever. It's not like it's news that China's a fucked up country. And even if it was, I already got the news from when I was in Russia, stuck there overnight. There was this Dutch guy named Valentine that I hung out with all night, and he told me like 3 different times that if I thought the bureaucracy was bad in Russia, he said in China it's much worse. Like, he couldn't be more emphatic about how much worse things are in China. And that's where I am. So, whatever, man. But all I got to do is hang out here. If I can find somewhere to curl up, that would be nice. But worst case scenario, I can go to the ticket counter for my flight in a little over 12 hours. So, I don't know. If I stay up for 12 hours, walk in the airport, it's not optimal. But I'm not stressed out about it like I was yesterday. It's so funny because yesterday, when you really boil it down, I went from one hotel to another. I went from the hotel in Segwapo to a hotel in Busan. Like, on a surface level, it was a fucking cool ass day. It wasn't a hard day at all. It's just that everywhere in the middle, I didn't know what the fuck was going on, and it made me miserable. Here, at least I know what's going on. I just have a long waiting game to play. No internet, because of course, why wouldn't it be millions of hoops to get on the fucking internet? I couldn't get on the internet in Russia either. Just know this place sucks, but I'm just here to do a transfer, man. I really doubt. I have a feeling that my flight was kind of in trouble from the beginning, even before the typhoon sent me scrambling, because I did only have 90 minutes to transfer in this airport. And I was a little unsure about that already, but now that I've been here, I don't fancy my fucking chances, dude. I had to do multiple rounds of fingerprint scans just to hang out in the airport. 90 minutes is not enough to transfer in Shanghai. For now, I guess I'll just find where my flight company is, so I know where to go at 8:30 in the morning. And then as for what I'm going to do all night, I don't fucking know. Test. Wow, this is weird. So the first thing I saw that stood out to me in this airport in China is a Lawson's. I'm like, oh, nice, Lawson's. I don't know if I'm going to buy anything while I'm here. But yeah, I saw Lawson's. Then I saw a Family Mart. I'm like, ah, that's nice. And now there's a motherfucking Tim Hortons, bitch. I remember when I saw Tim Hortons in New York. It was like near Times Square. Or, no, near that fucking Madison Square Garden. I don't know if it's still there or anything. This was back in 2008, 2009. It was a minorly big deal that there was a Tim Hortons there. No Americans cared, though, so it might not be there at all anymore. But I guess I shouldn't be too shocked because I did see some Tim Hortonses in Seoul. But yeah, I don't know. This is what, I don't know, it's weird. It's like, I don't know anything about this part of the world really, but it's kind of weird how North Korea is basically in the past. But if you want to be controlling and totalitarian, China is still that way. But they have Family Mart and Lawson's and McDonald's and Tim Hortons. I guess philosophically, that doesn't mesh, I guess, with North Korea. But it's like you can do both. You can have a veneer of like, hey, look, we got all the stuff. Just also, don't step out of line. Don't. But anyway, I truly did not expect to see that. Fucking Tim Hortons. Yeah, it is a shame. I should have looked up some of this stuff before I got here, but I didn't figure that I just wouldn't be able to get on the internet at the airport. So there's like that Places to Sleep website that I checked out for Calgary. That might be handy. just to see if there's anywhere around here. I don't know. I guess when it gets late, I'll just see if there's other people sleeping. It's easy enough. Calgary, I guess, made me overly confident about sleeping in the airport because it was so easy. And I saw so many different places where you could, and it was so nice. But yeah, I guess I'll just see what's going on here. If I see someone else sleeping, I'll just follow suit maybe. I mean, it's a pretty airport, but so was the one in Russia. I don't know, every airport's pretty. Who the fuck cares? And yeah, now that I'm up in the proper terminal on the second floor of the terminal, there's fewer people asking me constantly if I need a taxi. It's like, no way. I ain't going outside. I ain't touching soil around here. I don't even know if I can. But yeah, basically, to finally get into some of this crap about the flight, might as well yammer about that as I just walk down. You know, this place is big too, but that's another thing with Calgary. Calgary was insane, as was the Russian airport. Like, I'm actually almost at the end of this terminal. I'm just gonna walk back and forth along this fucking thing for 12 hours? Like, in Calgary, you legitimately can just walk and walk and walk and walk and walk. And I walked across the Russian airport for like 40 fucking minutes, and I have no idea how far I got. I mean, actually, it took a long time to walk from Terminal 1 to Terminal 2. There was some stuff going on in there. But there's a security pass. I can't go back. But basically, see last episode for more details, but I had this flight that I booked sometime back with China Eastern Air through Expedia. And, you know, there's like this thing with these third-party websites that you book through where you should be very sus of, you know, Dream Flight and these weird ones that post very cheap prices on flight websites just to get you in the door. And then they do buy tickets for you, but then, you know, you're dealing with a middleman instead of the actual airline, and it's not necessarily the best way to do stuff. If you deal directly with the airlines, then, you know, you're dealing directly with the airlines. But I don't know that I necessarily would change what I did. I was even thinking for a bit, like, maybe I should leave a day early. And I'm not saying that's a bad idea, but now that I've learned all the ins and outs of stuff, I don't think leaving the last day of your visa is necessarily so bad. Really, a typhoon is a pretty much falls into the acts of God territory. But yeah, I don't think I necessarily did anything wrong. I just know more ins and outs now to smooth this out next time. So it'll hopefully happen with less effect to my poor psyche if it happens again. But yeah, I was using Expedia, which I've used many times throughout the years, and they're pretty established. I think they just bought and merged with Hotels.com. Pretty big, and I gotta say, through this process, things didn't go smoothly, but I can't complain on their end. I mean, there might be some errors in their system, but they always got on a little Skype call with me within like 2 minutes and were as helpful as they could be. So yeah, it was a case of having to allow them to be the middleman for me in dealing with the airline. But in this part of the world, I think that's still not the worst idea, because how am I going to deal with all these random airlines by myself, you know? I went to the China Eastern airline for a hot second, and I was like, oh fuck, gotta register and log in and navigate this motherfucker. I flew Korean Air today, went way smoother. It's obviously a way easier to deal with fucking entity, but still, I went to their website for 1 second for something, and I was like, oh geez, like, luckily I found ways to do this through Expedia, because it's like, Jesus, I don't want to deal with this. So this part of the world in particular, the Expedia method seems pretty good, but it is still a middleman situation in the event that something goes wrong. Hey, here's a nice big window. There we go. There's my view of Shanghai. Just another airport terminal, an overpass, some airplanes. It's kind of nice. Sun's almost down. So yeah, the night before I was set to leave, I got this email just as I was about to try to tuck into bed that due to Typhoon Gimhae, I think it was called, Gaemi, that my flight was canceled. And I did a little quick research, and it did in fact seem to be a typhoon, bad enough that Taiwan was considering closing businesses and school that exact day I was supposed to arrive. Yesterday, which was a Wednesday. Today it's Thursday night. It would have been a little quick flight, just a quick flight to Shanghai, quick flight to Taiwan. But again, like I just said, I don't know. I mean, I guess the proof's in the pudding, right? My layover was 18 hours, but by the time I get a little recorder out to yammer to myself, I've only got to wait 12 more hours. And I mean, I'd probably been dicking around in the airport for 90 minutes or 2 hours at that point. But that means it still took, I don't know, it's a blur. But it's got to have been at least 3 hours, right, to get through the basic process. How the fuck was I supposed to do that transfer in 90 minutes? I don't know, maybe it's because I have to stay overnight that it's a bigger process. But anyway, what was supposed to be a quick little flight that I'm now suspect wouldn't have worked anyway, that thing got canceled at the last second. So I called up Expedia, and they were very helpful. But here's, I guess, where the first problem happened, is that their pipeline of communication between China Eastern Airlines and themselves definitely is not up to snuff with that particular airline. Because while my Shanghai to Taiwan flight was canceled, in their systems it said that the Jeju to Shanghai half was not canceled. So we started working from there. That was the information we went from, of like, well, all right, if I'm going to be in Shanghai, then what can I do? And the lady was recommending to just cancel and start over, which ultimately, I guess, was really the only option and is what I should have done. I just wanted to avoid what did happen, that I now have to just pick the last possible flight because I'm totally inflexible because of visa stuff. I have to leave South Korea, so I got to take whatever flight. So I was like, man, isn't that going to be expensive? And it was. I ended up spending $650, and now I've got all these first class. I found out this flight, my flight from here to Taiwan, is also business class, so I get the fancy treatment again. Lucky me. I guess we'll see how a North Korean airline treats you in business class versus a Chinese one. But if I just rebooked through China Eastern Airlines stuff, then there's no charge for the rebooking. So that's where we came up with this wild plan of like, all right, well, if you're already in Shanghai, then you can stay overnight in Shanghai and go to Qingdao, I think it was called, and stay overnight there and then go to Taipei. 2 days, won't get there till Friday, but that should work. And I was like, good enough, sounds all right to me. Put my mind at ease, I went to bed. Then when I got to the airport the next day, I guess the first sign of a problem was when I went to the counter. This has never happened to me before, where normally I just give them my passport and they find me in their system and then they issue me a ticket. But it turns out Expedia actually, I guess I did know that this is how it works, but I've just never run into this. Expedia, is the one who gets the ticket, and then in your Expedia profile, your ticket number is in there, but it's very hard to find. You have to click on like passenger information under your name, and it's one little part. It's not on any of the emails that they send you because they don't get that actual ticket number until nearer your departure time. It's not in your general information. You got to dig for this thing. I've never seen it in my life, and it's because I've never needed it. My passport was always enough. However, this time I gave him the passport and he wasn't seeing me, so he needed the number. And this is where this poor guy who had to deal with me, his English was pretty good, but I think he's still a bit taxing for him to try to communicate with me. And I think we were getting on each other's nerves a lot because I was just, I was trying to stay polite, but it was getting annoying because this has just never happened before. So I was just telling him honestly, like, I just don't understand what's going on. I don't understand what it is that I need. I've never had to do this before. I don't know what's going on. So finally I had to get on a Skype call with Expedia, and they told me where to find my ticket number. And I was like, that's never happened before. But it turns out why it happened this time is it wouldn't have happened if everything was fine. My old technique would have worked. They would have just saw my name on my passport and I would have been in their system and yada yada. But basically what happened on China Eastern Air's side is while it looked like, don't open mouth cough, you motherfucker. I've been editing out multiple coughs, but I just hate when you don't cover your mouth, motherfucker. At least cover your mouth. You're in public, you fuck. Oh, here's the window on the other side of the terminal. On the plus side, I seem to be getting away with talking into my phone. Nobody's looking at me weird, where everybody looks at you weird when you have a little recorder. Because my recorder is pretty small, but it's got the little troll hair thing on the top as a windbreaker thing. Even the people I was pushing it a bit on the plane. By the end, with the plane landing, one of the stewardesses asked me, like, hey, what is that thing? Like, it is just to record your voice, right? And I was like, yeah. And she wanted to make sure it doesn't have internet capabilities, because, that idea of, like, put your phone in airplane mode, don't interfere with the plane on takeoff and landing. And I was like, oh, no, it's fine. It's just a little, like, for an audio diary, I told her. But I stopped at that point. I'm like, okay, the jig is up. Of course, people notice me talking into that thing. They would be... I get weird glances all the time, but it's one of those things that it's like it's not weird enough to make anyone like care. It's just weird enough for people to go, what is that? What is this guy doing? But in China, in the airport, forget about it. But I haven't gotten a single weird look for talking into my phone. I'm just talking into my phone. Amazing. So yeah, basically, while it looked through Expedia's system like only half of my flight had been canceled, and that the half that got me from Jeju to Shanghai still existed. In China Eastern Air's side of things, fair enough, I think, really. Like, I don't think there's anyone particularly at fault for any of this stuff. Just everything went a little weird on all sides. To them, they canceled the whole thing. Which, yeah, obviously, the flight's over. Why would I want half of it? It's over. Cancel, start over. There's a typhoon. Sorry. They did eventually give me my money back, so, that's not the worst. It's like, again, act of God. But Expedia was working with a different set of information, and they somehow were able to build on that. Like, they were able to set up a new thing with the idea that Shanghai seat was still there, that I still had that seat. And then we set up the other thing, Shanghai to Qingdao to Taiwan. But basically that seat was gone. China Eastern Airlines pretty much immediately just sold it off to someone else, because my trip is over. My trip is done. They considered it all one trip, and like, that's over. So once I got the actual ticket number, they could find me in their system, but I don't remember the term. It was open something, an open state ticket. That wasn't the word. It was open something, but whatever. It just means like standby, basically. Like, I was in the system in the sense of, like, I guess I probably wasn't even in the system from before. It was probably just that what Expedia had booked now put me back on that flight, but there was no room on the flight, so I was just there in some kind of a standby capacity. Now, new plan, I am still just walking around. Sometimes there's little water machines with paper cups. I'm starting to feel that. If anything, maybe I'll venture to try to find that Family Mart. It could be worth it just to try out the credit card just to get a fucking bottle of water. But let's do another round and see if I can find a water machine. So yeah, basically everything was already not gonna work. But this poor guy, who, again, I apologize to you through the Cosmos guy. I wasn't like rude, but I was definitely, like, we were just getting on each other's nerves because nothing was making sense. I was like, I have this thing, here's all the booking stuff, but you don't have the thing. What the fuck's going on? But he also explained something else to me, why this trip was double fated not to work, even if I had that first bit available to me to get to Shanghai, because this is my first inkling of how fucking locked down China is. Like, so what if I go to Shanghai and then go to Qingdao and then go to Taipei? Who gives a shit? I'm just in the airport the whole time. Like, whatever, man, right? Who cares? Well, China cares. You can't do that. He's the one who told me you can stay in this airport in Shanghai for up to 144 hours. That's the longest longest you can stay. So none of this stuff like that dude who lived in the airport for years, they made that awful movie about him. It's not just easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. You do have a time limit, but 144 hours is pretty long. That wouldn't have been the problem. But even though I was only going to Qingdao to transfer, and I was never planning to leave the airport or even wanting to leave the airport, that would be considered flying and traveling, within China. You need a visa for that. And China is not one of the countries, one of the very few countries where even a nice Canadian like me can't just roll in and get a visitor visa. You got to do it ahead of time. So I would need a visitor visa just to transfer within the country. Which, hey, good to know. Important to know. I will never do that again. Unfortunately, the Expedia lady apparently didn't know that. But then, I did a little research about it, and he seemed dead on. Of course he would know. He works for China Eastern Airlines, but he's like, yeah, this ain't gonna work, man. This whole plan, everything about your plan is fucking not happening. I was like, God damn, that's so weird that you can't even just transfer within the country. Seeming less and less weird now that I've been put through many hours of poking and prodding here in China. So basically I called back Expedia and was like, so anything we can do about this? And the guy I talked to that time, this is where, it was very obvious everything was just out of whack between what China Eastern Airlines was showing and what Expedia could see. Because he was like, I still see the flight from, basically the original flight to Shanghai and then Taipei. I'm still seeing that in my system. You can still do all that. And I was like, I don't know, man. There's a typhoon. They canceled every flight to Taiwan. I don't think so, but if you want to try it, go ahead and try it. And it was down to the wire. I had 40 minutes to check in for this flight. And he's like, well, it's going to take me 20. And I was like, well, I don't know. Sure, go ahead, do it. And when he eventually came back, he's like, nah, no, I guess not. So we just canceled the thing. And I was like, okay, well, thank you. And let me just book a new thing now. And that's where, it was already noon or so on the day I have to leave. So I just got the only flight out, which left Jeju at 7:30, got into Busan at about 8:30, then overnight in Busan here to Shanghai, overnight in Shanghai, and then to Taipei. With only fancy pants business class available. And now I'm seeing the only reason I didn't have a fancy pants business class ticket, I just had priority seating from Jeju's because it's just too short of a flight. They just don't have that. But these other flights, they're not long. They're still each only 2-hour flights, but I guess that's plenty of time to get the pay for the mega treatment. Which, again, now that it's all done, whatever, it's kind of fun. It's kind of neat to try it, because I would just never, I'd be mortified to spend that money if I wasn't under dire straits. But that also stressed me out, though, because that put me a day over. And what I should have done, I now know, is that there is an immigration office in all the airports. I kind of thought maybe Jeju wouldn't have one because they're smaller, but they're not really small like that. Of course they had one in hindsight, but I was already at this point super exhausted, mega stressed, talking to this China Eastern Airline guy, talking to the Expedia people, booking last second tickets, way out of my comfort zone. I was starting to get pretty freaked out already. And when I went to the ticket lady in Jeju, she's, looked at the date, was like, this doesn't line up. She's like, well, I can give you the ticket for Busan, but then it's, to leave Busan, you're going to have to talk to somebody. You're going to have to sort this out. So I guess that also kind of put the idea in my head that I should deal with it in Busan. If Busan are the people that are going to be the last ones to see me before I leave the country, maybe I should be letting them deal with it, not someone in Jeju the day earlier. This was a mistake. But also, I spent the rest of that day just my head slumped on my bag. It's nice because my book bag has a stiff back. So I can just use it to if I'm sitting at a chair and I got my book bag next to me, I can just cross my arms, put them on top of my book bag, and just sleep on it. It's not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, it was just like, oh geez, well, that's where I recorded on the plane leaving Jeju, and I was clearly upset. I was really not in the right headspace to go seek out the immigration officer in Jeju. And ultimately, it turned out it's pretty much fine either way, but it would have been better, because the main thing was to deal with it before the date expires. If I had gone and found an immigration office in the Jeju airport, apparently it's quite easy to give me a one-day extension, especially under the circumstances. I've got the paper trail. Everyone knows about the typhoon. I've got the canceled flights. It's very obvious I did what I could. I tried what I could. It would have been no problem to just give me a one-day extension, and then everything would have been fine. So that was a mistake on my end, but I was way beyond whatever mental energy reserves I normally have. My shields were down, so I did not do that. I just sat there and felt sad. It was like, man, it must be so awful to be chronically depressed, because I was basically like that for one day. And it really fucks shit up, man. It's really hard to do stuff. It's really hard to... I know it's not the same thing. If you're depressed for one day, you're just having a bad day. But that's sort of what it seemed like to me. Yeah, found in the back corner. The opposite corner from the Tim Hortons. A washroom with a little water thing. So I'm going to go get some water. Man, what if I did just go to Tim Hortons? Get a bunch of coffee and just fuck the world and just stay up all night. Now, that'd be a very bad idea. Very tempting though. Hey, there's a fellow foreign guy drinking water out of the little cup. I'm gonna go and join him. Test. Ah, that's nice. Got some water. Yeah, I saw this same system in Busan where it's just a little paper cup with the cold water, but there's also hot water, and warnings, don't put the hot water in the paper cup. But additionally, there was an extra warning in Busan saying, hey, please don't eat smelly foods, like strong smelling foods like cup noodle. No such warning here in China. But yeah, the basic takeaways, I guess, is I do think using a third-party website is okay if it's a really well-established one. Expedia's worked okay with me, but there are going to be problems like this. If there is a problem, I guess you can't really guarantee that communication between the two sides is working. So it's good to know. Probably just, if something gets fucked up, just bite the bullet, cancel the whole thing, start over, get an emergency flight, splurge out, I guess. Get some business class, because that's all that's left. And I mean, I guess leaving a day before wouldn't be the worst thing, but that's where I was saying, like, I don't know that that's necessary exactly, because it was totally within my means, even with this typhoon alert happening the night before. I had time to go find an immigration office in the Jeju airport. I could have got my day extension. So now I know. Now I know more about this. I'll probably continue to just keep staying until the final day of my visas. But leaving a day early would certainly make all this type of thing more fucking flexible. How much more flexible, though? I don't know. How much would it matter if I had one more day? I'm not sure. I probably could have got a better, cheaper flight out of Busan, maybe? Well, no, I guess not, because I already left Busan the next day. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I probably still would have been approximately as fucked. So maybe not. Maybe just hope a typhoon doesn't come. I think that's not the worst way to proceed, because probably this will never happen to me again. And the other important detail is, you cannot transfer around within China. Absolutely not. You need a full-on visa for that. So, I was kind of putting myself in the hands of the Expedia people, again, just presuming they know what's going on, but I don't know. They're just call center people. They don't fucking know. They're not Carmen goddamn Sandiego. They're not Passepartout. They don't fucking know. So now I know that they don't fucking know. And it did come up several times of like, hey, just what would you like to do? And I was kind of putting it in their hands because I don't know. But it's up to me, even in last second circumstances. It is up to me to know. It's up to me to decide what's going on. So I know that now. So yeah, I had my little flight, my beautiful final view of Jeju Island. God damn, it was so nice to see that from the air. So gorgeous. And then the flight over a little bit of South Korea at night, also gorgeous. Got into the Busan airport. The immigration office on that end, I went and checked and they were closed. So I had to talk to them the next day. And then, yeah, I was gonna possibly stay at the airport, but it's like, well, like there's no benefit to that anymore. I thought maybe, as a way of throwing myself on the mercy of the immigration office, I could, it add to my case that it's like, hey, I am here an extra day, but I'm not even leaving the airport. I'm just gonna stay here, it's fine. But since I had no one to talk to tell that to, or to run that by them, it's like, well, it just doesn't matter then. There's no benefit to staying in the airport all night. So anyway, as I described last episode, I just went on Google Maps because I can actually get fucking Wi-Fi in Korea. Korea is so good for Wi-Fi. Japan sucks just because their infrastructure sucks. China sucks because they won't let you have it. Good old Korea, man. I still remember that first share house in Seoul. It had so much internet. Like I realized this morning at this hotel I went to, the fucking bathroom in my hotel last night was like easily twice the size of my whole room in those share houses in Seoul. But that share house had so many wireless Wi-Fi things. It's like if someone else is on your Wi-Fi and they're slowing you down even a touch, just go on a different one. We got like 15 of them. They love internet in South Korea. Even in Jetcheon, I wasn't sure how the Wi-Fi worked because it had the little lock next to it, like there's a password, but there was no password. So I didn't even try clicking on it. I just messaged the person to ask what the password was, but how I did that was I was just walking down the block to go to a convenience store and I just found Wi-Fi just outside in Jetcheon for no reason. Good old South Korea, man. So much fucking Wi-Fi. It's great. So anyway, jumped on the South Korean Wi-Fi, found the first hotel I could find, walked through the sweltering heat. Damn, I already forgot. The Sky Angel or Sky Air, maybe just Sky Air hotel. And yeah, as I talked about last episode, the lady only had a suite left, a big fancy suite. And it was supposed to be who knows how much. The late night price was $130. But I was such a pathetic figure, and I was like, oh, geez, I don't know. I should really go check out some other hotels. Like, that's a lot of money. Or just sleep at the airport. I was just being honest with her. And she gave me the normal room price of $90. So I got it, and I don't regret it. That's not a sustainable way to travel unless I was a lottery winner. Although, God, that'd be sweet. But for a one-night thing under these dumb circumstances where I don't have anything booked in Busan, I thought I didn't have any money on my T-Money card, but it was just enough. I squeezed a little more out of the old T-Money. But yeah, I was like, I don't even know if I can get into Busan proper, but even if I do, I don't have anywhere to go. So just the fact that it was the closest hotel from the airport, like a 20-minute walk, and the lady gave me the normal price for a super room, and I was quite desperate, and I just did want a place to stay. It all worked out real well. God bless that lady. God bless that hotel. So yeah, you can see last episode for more details about my fancy, cool hotel. But let me tell you some more stuff. So yeah, this thing was amazing. Like, it's clearly where a businessman goes with his mistress. That's all I could think of. Like, I was looking at the jacuzzi tub this morning and just like, that should be a naked lady in there with a bunch of bubbles. Like, I didn't have time to fill it up myself, but it was this huge tub. It would have been weird as hell for me to just be in that thing. I'll loop back around to the Tim Hortons again. I guess now that I know where the water is, on this loop, I guess I'll see if there's anywhere that looks like it's a place where you could sleep. But I'm not seeing one off the top of my head. I don't even know if there's anywhere where there's like several seats in a row that you could lay down. Like in Calgary, they had definite banks of chairs without armrests. Kind of, somewhat tacitly encouraging you to just lie down. None of that here. I think if I lie down, it's just lying down on the ground. I'm thinking maybe just up by one of these windows. There's just people chilling by the big windows. Maybe if I just lie down next to a window. Since I have bags within bags, I've got basically, I got it down to 3 bags. I've got my big Osprey bag with all of my clothes in it, and I've got a medium-sized bag with everything else. I got a small bag with toiletry stuff in it. Just wanted to keep that stuff separate. I was just going to leave it all, but I just had I've still got toothpaste, and I've still got aftershave, and I still got suntan lotion. I don't want to throw all this shit away. And I think, because they don't let you bring goddamn water bottles onto a plane. Well, they do though, but you got to dump your water bottle out and buy a new bottle of water on the other side. But it's the under 100 milliliters thing, right? So everything I had was under 100 milliliters, but just in case there's any weird squirting out of tan lotion, I want all that stuff to be in its own bag. I just walked by a lady who looks just like my friend Chris's mom, except Asian. That's weird. Yeah, definitely no seats that you could lay down on, but I think that wouldn't work here anyway. It's just too crowded. There's quite a bit of empty space in Calgary. Here, it would be, even in the middle of the night, I don't think you could take up these seats without it being a party foul. So yeah, this place was Businessman Mistress Grand Central. So perfect for that. Just a beautiful fucking room. Beautiful couch, some beautiful chairs, beautiful big bed, enormous TV. I was going to turn it on just to see the majesty of the enormous TV, but I couldn't find the remote. Insane washroom with everything you could ever want. It even had, that's the one thing I thought was a little weird, is the shower head, because there's the toilet with all of its cool bidet stuff. There was the big jacuzzi tub. There was the sink off to the side. Again, this thing is fucking huge. Easily, I could just live in the bathroom by itself. But then it did just have the shower, wet room style. But the shower nozzle, usually there's 2 little hooks for it. There's one at waist height for me, and then one higher up, so that a tall dude can shower. This one didn't have the higher up. So I was like, that's the only thing that this awesome hotel room is missing. That seems a little strange. But then I was fiddling with the knobs, and instead of coming out of the shower head, water just started flowing magically straight from the ceiling, like rain. Like the ceiling just became a shower. And I was like, you fucking did it again. Amazing hotel room. You're fucking amazing. You're so fucking good. You're so fucking good. God, that place ruled. Kind of worth $90, kind of worth $90. And if you were fancy pants business guy with your mistress, whatever it normally costs, I don't know, how much could it have been? If 130 was the late night deal, 150, 160, I don't know, but it's worth it. This place was just great. Again, it's so neat that these circumstances ever led me to ever being there. I just never would have normally. Because when you got stuff planned out in advance, you do not plan out in advance to stay in the honeymoon suite. You just don't. That's just shit that happens. Unless you're a real fucking weird traveler. But yeah, there was also this machine in the corner that's it was quite large. It was like the size of a skinny fridge. And I did a little Googling and found out it was like a home dry cleaning machine that cost like $1,300 to buy. So I tried it out, and yeah, it's fucking cool as hell. I basically ended up putting all my clothes through this thing, and it just dry cleans them in like 40 minutes. So I had to do 2 batches. I didn't have very many clothes to put through, but I put through both my pairs of pants. Whenever I travel, I wear 2 pairs of pants because I don't have room for my second pair of pants in my luggage. I'm wearing 2 pairs of pants right now, but it's really not a big problem until you're outside. But that 20-minute walk, it fucking murdered me. But yeah, it's like just gave my pants a little spruce up. It made my underwear and socks. I was like, these are more than good enough for me to wear again. I'm wearing them right now. I put my knee braces through it. I put my hat through it. I just put everything through it. The only thing was my sweaty t-shirt. That one, it was like, maybe it was fine. It did a pretty good job. But I just don't know that dry cleaning is really meant to like clean like that. This thing is specifically for suits. It even had, I don't know, some way that it could like press a suit. I don't know. So yeah, it's for businessman guy. Puts a suit in there. And Koreans, I famously learned, literally don't have the gene the vast majority of them don't have the gene that makes your sweat smell bad. So I don't know that this machine is meant to clean sweat smell. So I was just like a little concerned. I'm like, this shirt seems fine, but why put anybody else through that? You know, especially I didn't realize it was going to be Mr. First Class today, Mr. Business Guy. Are first class and business class different? I don't know. Maybe first class doesn't exist anymore. Maybe it is just business class now. Anyway, yeah, to be vaguely smelly and be the first class guy would be weird as hell. So I did switch out my shirt, but this just allowed me to put that t-shirt in my luggage as my one piece of dirty luggage with no worries, you know? I didn't have to just leave it behind. I'm like, this thing is basically clean. The thing was cool as hell, basically. I would never buy one, but if you just have access to one, what a neat device. Home dry cleaning. Oh, I'm starting to flag a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe by those windows would be an okay place to lie down, but I don't know. I don't know that there is one. I think I will just wait and see if anybody else, as the night goes on, starts trying to pull off these shenanigans. Like, there's definitely nooks and crannies and stuff, but there's like security guards all around being scary. This is just not the place for shenanigans. I think this literally might be a just sleep while sitting in tiny bursts. I think that might be what's ahead of me tonight. Because yeah, the slumping over my bag plan, it's not that bad. It's just that it always leads to something falling asleep. My arms or my legs, you know. I can only sleep in that position for so long before the pins and needles wake me up. But anyway, whatever. Dry cleaned all my stuff. Oh, this place was so fancy, it even had one outlet that could take a North American triple pronged plug, which was nice, although it still sparked. There's something very wrong with the fucking outlets in South Korea. I knew that their version, their little dual pronged European ones, did the little sparks and the crackles a lot, but it even did that for a North American plug. It's like, man, there's just something wrong. I don't know. It's fucked. But at least I had one. Turkish restaurant, Muslim food. Nice. What the fuck? I didn't realize there's like another layer up above here. Cool. Is it just restaurants up there? I guess so. Food, eh? But yeah, then the next morning they had a breakfast thing from 7 to 9. And I was like, I don't know. I think I'd prefer to get some more sleep. So I set my alarms for 10 o'clock. And I was like, whatever. If I wake up early, I wake up early. And if I don't, I'll wake up at 10 o'clock. But I'm really glad I didn't do that, because my idea with 10 o'clock, my flight out of Busan wasn't until 3:30, and I was very close to the airport. But I still wanted to get there as early as possible, you know, just to make sure if I had to do a lot of bureaucracy with the immigration people, to give them the time and to not seem flippant about it, like I'm just showing up at the last fucking second. Yeah, well, floor 3, I guess I'll just go up. Just go up and see what's up here. Please hold the handrail in the luggage. And yeah, my idea was, you know, I could just wake up at 10 and all my stuff's ready and just jump in the shower and then leave. But that wouldn't have happened, because I did end up just waking up on my own at like 7:30. So I'm like, oh, perfect, breakfast thing just started. And I went and got the breakfast, and then just basically just dicking around of like taking a shower and making sure all my stuff's ready and all my stuff charged or whatever. And when I'm nervous, it just makes me have to poop a lot. I don't know why. It's so annoying. It's so weird. Whenever I'm anxious, I just like think I'm done pooping, and then 5 minutes later I gotta go sit down again. And that happened, man. You know, I gave myself a nice 45 minutes of like, can we please get through this process? Body, I know what you're doing to me. You do this all the time. It's so weird. But just to have all that time. So basically I did actually leave by about 10. But I was quote unquote ready to go at 8:30. And then it's just this little thing leads to that little thing. And so if I had gotten up at 10, who knows what time I would have actually left. That would have been a bad idea. Getting up early for airport stuff is never a bad idea. Yeah, it's just like tons of restaurants up here. Now I'm starting to feel hungry, but I don't know, actual sit-down stuff? I don't think so. I think I will just go try to find that Family Mart and maybe just buy some stuff there. But yeah, speaking of, I can tell you about the fucking breakfast. The breakfast thing at my amazing cool hotel. But I'll do that in a bit, because yeah, I've walked around the whole terminal 3 or 4 times, yammering to myself. I think it's time to take a little break and try to situate myself a little better, figure out what the fuck's going on around here. I'm actually surprised how well this is going. It's like 2 in the morning now. I was going to switch back to my real recorder, but it's buried in my bag somewhere. And there's still security people all over the place, and it'd still be weird. One of them was a little sleepy. He was a little sleepy guy. One of these security guys just asleep where he's sitting. I'm just going to do a quick walk around the concourse and see if there's anybody with some genius idea I haven't thought of. There is the washroom with the water machine. It actually does have a little padded little sitting area with a guy sleeping on it. That one's pretty genius. That actually looks pretty premium. It'd be a nice little place to curl up. And here's at least one little tea shop that is still open. That's nice. Yeah, it's a lot quieter now in this concourse, a lot less people. Please don't queue out on the escalator. Please do not push the yeah, basically, I did go with just sitting by one of the big long windows, which I guess that initially was kind of weird, just sitting next to a window. It did kind of keep occurring to me, like, oh, I'm right by a window. That's another thing it's so strange, like my fear of heights thing. When I was looking out the airplane window today, looking down upon creation, I managed to freak myself out a little, but I had to really think about it. I had to really consider how high up I was, and I started asking myself, why doesn't this make you scared? You have such a weird fear of heights, how come not now? And eventually I actually managed to start to feel it, and I'm like, but now why am I doing this to myself? Don't think about it, dummy. Because then just stupid stuff like being next to a window makes me feel a little uncomfortable. Like, what if this window disappeared and I tumbled out? It's like, it doesn't make any sense. Thank goodness, though. Thank goodness I don't have a fear of flying. That would be a lot worse. But yeah, I sat next to this thing and I just did put my head down on my bag, like with my bag in front of me, cross my arms, just lay my head on it. And I managed to semi-pass out for like half an hour, but it's just such a weird, like trying to sleep when you're sitting up. Like, I guess people can do that. I suppose even after I had my appendix out, I did actually have a couple of days where I more or less had to sleep sitting up. But if you're not in a medical emergency, it's pretty fucking tough to actually do that. So basically, even though it was only like 10 o'clock, oh, there's another seat. So there's an actual seat with like 3 seats together with no handrails. Again, just some random seat halfway through the concourse. You know, it goes from A to M, I think, and I'm at K before I saw that. So just this one random little bank of 3 seats, which of course somebody nabbed up. So it's pretty rare to actually have a place to properly lie down. But yeah, even though it was only like 10 o'clock, there's some people slumped on just some seats, but just like little chairs. I don't think that'd really work for me. Like single seat chairs with big armrests. It's like sleeping in a teacup. I don't know that I could pull that off. So there's very slight options. It's certainly not like Calgary. Calgary was like begging you to just go take a nap somewhere. And taking around the loop, Tim Hortons is closed. Most places are closed. But let's see what things look like on this side. Most people also just doing the zombie walk like I am. Just walking around. Oh, somebody's asleep on the I Heart SH. It's like an I Heart Shanghai sign. And there's just enough room for one person to sleep in the middle. So, I mean, this is nice at least. Nobody cares. If you can find a place to slump down, nobody minds. But yeah, over here where there's like banks to recharge your phone, but there's also seats, but with just armrests so you can't lay across them. There are people just slumped in those seats. So yeah, my little spot by the window, after I did the half hour of just sort of slumping forward, nobody else was really sleeping yet at this point, but I was like, yeah, this is fine, it's late enough, or I've been sitting here long enough, no one's bothering me, it seems fine. I just upped the ante. So I took my little Osprey bag with all of my clothing out of my main bag, and I just basically attached my two bags together, like unhooked the arm loops of my main bag, put them around my Osprey bag, just so if anybody did mess with my bag, you know, if they tried to pull it, it would pull the Osprey bag, which I was going to use as a pillow. I figure that's enough security. Probably no one's going to touch my shit, but I don't know. It's clear now all the rules apply in the world of Shanghai. Now there's some people just straight up laid out. They just found like cardboard, like homeless style. I don't know where they get the cardboard from. Wonder how much that helps. I mean, it sure wouldn't hurt. Yeah, there's not really a lot of people sleeping in general. Most people are just awake or semi-sleeping in a sitting position on chairs. But sometimes there's some people. But yeah, what was good about where I am heading back to now, back to the window, all the way at the A. Right now I'm at F. Gotta head back to A. I think my airline is at H. And yeah, it's like 2 a.m. now. They open at like 8:30. So I've got an alarm set on my phone for 8. And I'm just playing the rain noises through my headphones on a constant loop, my little half hour of rain sounds. Just got that looped at a 6 volume, which is pretty high. I usually sleep with it on a 3, but that'll just, block out the airport sound. Oh yeah, there's a time change too. So when I was like, it seemed weird that certainly it took a long time for me to go through immigration stuff or visa or whatever the fuck that they needed me to do just to stay over in the airport. But 3 hours sounded like a lot. So yeah, that would have made it more like 2 because the time changed. But still, 90 minutes to get to your next flight. That was ill-advised. I'm starting to just get the feeling maybe Expedia just doesn't know much about China, maybe. I don't know, they seem to be leading a person astray. But yeah, so I laid down with the Osprey bag as my pillow. Oh yeah, and also I put on my coats, because I've got my 2 coats that I've just been lugging around, but I really don't ever need them. But in this case, they turned out to be pretty handy. I was like, I'll just put them on for the night, hopefully it won't be too hot. And it wasn't. They were like, just seemed just right. And that's where I realized where I'm lying. I think a lot of people wouldn't be able to sleep where I'm sleeping just because everyone's just in a t-shirt. But I realized what I'm sleeping on is next to the big long window. There's like a railing, which at first I thought was maybe just to keep people from leaning against the window, and maybe it is. But also, along that railing is like an air vent. So kind of like the classic, like the hobo in old New York, in old movies, who's sleeping on the warm air vent. But this is a cool air vent. But because I got my coats on, it's not bothering me. And because I'm just kind of on the other side of this little railing, it does keep me out of the flow. The only thing I was concerned about is what if a floor buffer showed up? And that's part of why I'm up now. I kind of had to pee, but I'm just sort of putting it off. But then a floor buffer thing did show up, and it was really loud. But yeah, I'd be behind this little railing, so it couldn't get me anyway. The evil floor buffer can't chew me up. Although there's somebody else sleeping more out in the proper concourse, and the floor buffer just drove around him. And there he is behind me, in fact. But yeah, the main issue is sleeping on the floor is just a floor, man. It's really hard. I more or less had to sleep on my back. I've made the loop back at my sleep spot. So yeah, let me just wrap this up. Just basically, it's hard to sleep on the floor. On top of my Osprey bag, I also got I've got a little inflatable neck pillow. So I pulled that out, put it around my neck. But yeah, I usually don't sleep on my back. Usually I sleep on my side. But it's very hard to sleep on your side on just the hard floor. And this vent, it's leading to some pain in the old hips. But nothing serious, and I'm still able to do it, just to kind of shift my position here and there during the night. Like now that I'm up and walking around a bit, I had a little bit of pain in my hip at first, but it's already gone away. Basically, I guess if you're tired enough, the floor is just a big, terrible bed. Oh, and now that I'm looking out the window, there's not even a drop-off out this window. There's like a little patio deck right out here, so there's not even a drop. I just couldn't tell in the night. I was convincing myself there was a little drop-off outside this window, and there's not. Nice. So anyway, I'm gonna go the fuck back to bed. But yeah, even without a proper place to sleep, even with just sleeping on the ground, I'm pretty surprised how well it goes. I'm looking forward to it. But being able to lie down makes all the difference. Like lying down on the floor, it sucks, but it's a million times better than trying to sleep sitting up. That was not going to happen. That was going to be a miserable night. Whereas now, this is I don't know, it's all right. I don't really mind.